Welcome to the next episode of Stable School. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by Raza. The interviewer has become the interviewee.
Oh no.
Can you please start by introducing yourself and Scroll?
Well, thanks for having me. It's exciting to be on this side of the podcast for once. Raza, head of growth at Scroll. Scroll's L2 on Ethereum. But we're on our next arc. Scroll's no longer just a chain.
What are you now?
We are essentially embarking on owning more assets and products so we can drive value to our community contributors, SCR holders.
Amazing. And yeah, with that in mind, I think this is hot in the news. We're here at Token 2049 Stablecoin Summit Singapore, October 2025. And so people are thinking about this governance switch that has happened. Do you want to just double click on that quickly for us?
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting because as it's not a governance switch, it's the next step. Mm-hmm. You know, we started with governance because essentially what crypto allows you to do is to participate in the ecosystem you want to be part of. Mm-hmm. And that was always the intention. Governance means, you have a stake and an ownership in the ecosystem. But the fact of the matter is there is no perfect governance model. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we didn't want as Scroll, and I'm going to give you no BS answers, is that we saw other DAOs, we saw other governance mechanisms where it went sideways. Either foundations or DAOs capitalized on, let's say, wrong incentive alignments. They executed way too slow. And to be quite frank, what we want to do is just make sure that we utilize governance and the community in a way where we are able to keep moving fast. Mm-hmm. And so this is actually the next phase. It's not necessarily a restriction or like down. No, we are aligning ourselves with delegates, with participants that want to help us making sure that we drive more value. We're going to talk about, USX and other products. Mm-hmm. And so what we're doing is we're ensuring, number one, that governance benefits Scroll. Mm-hmm. That community members who want to participate in governance can continue to participate in governance. Mm-hmm. But we do it in a way where we protect the ecosystem as well. Mm-hmm. And so again, I've spoken to many governance people, and they will all tell you the same thing I'm telling you now. There is no perfect model. Mm-hmm. And so we're doing it in a controlled manner, yes, but we're doing it a way where we're making sure it benefits Scroll. Mm-hmm. And so the no BS answer there is governance still exists, the DAO still exists, and it's just operating with a controlled mandate where we will expand if this is the right direction.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I think that's... It was an important thing to get out of the way before we got to the good stuff.
Yeah, which is,
why don't you tell us all about USX?
Yes, I'm super excited about this. We've been building our chain very hard. Like I just told you, Scroll is embarking on its next arc where we are a chain, but there is more. Mm-hmm. And we've been thinking very hard about what the direction of the, essentially of Scroll is going to be. And so USX has a couple of core differentiators that actually start with the chain. Mm-hmm. So when we started out as a L2 ZK chain, in 2023, running a ZK chain is very hard. Mm-hmm. We optimized the chain so much that today we are cheaper than OP rollups, mm-hmm. but with ZK security. And this is a key element in why USX is different. And I'll touch upon that. And then we managed to hyper optimize the performance of our chain so that it's great for our founders and the ecosystem. But then we started to experiment with different products and solving real use cases. So the second one was privacy. We're launching Cloak. Mm-hmm. Cloak is our privacy solution. This week, I can mention it on the podcast. By the time it'll be out there. ETFI Cash will utilize this privacy solution. Awesome. It's practical privacy. Mm-hmm. So we use ZK. If the DOJ calls, yes, I'll be transparent, I'll open up. Yeah. But Zach, you can't see my balance, I can't see yours. Awesome. So once we were in this stage and we had ETFI Cash, we had payment taking off, we're like, okay, cool, what's the next step? And so USX is going to benefit from the chain. Mm-hmm. So a couple of points. USX is going to benefit from the chain because we're going to make it gasless. Mm-hmm. It's going to benefit from the privacy solution, which is practical privacy. Mm-hmm. You won't be able to see my balance, I won't see your balance. Mm-hmm. It will have access to payment rails, mm-hmm. which is important. Yeah. And the final thing is it will have the first dual yield strategy. which is a DeFi strategy and a traditional TradFi strategy, a market neutral strategy. And so some of these core features, so these 4 core features of USX are powered by the chain, and they're an extension of the chain. And so, and some of them are an extension of our partnership that we've been working on. And so USX is actually almost a natural transition where this is our next product that we're bootstrapping and providing and giving it back to the ecosystem.
Raza, you've been interviewing people in Stable School for almost a year now. And so it sounds like you've been studying the space and then you built a theoretically perfect stablecoin. You've touched on so many things that people find so important. And so in a kind of dick way, I want to ask you, how do I get wrapped as a user? I've been here since the Celsius days. We've been doing Stable Summit since 2021.
PTSD.
Yeah, I have severe PTSD. So when I hear these theoretically sound things, I just want to know, like, what's the catch? What's your biggest fear? What keeps you up at night?
Yeah, this is a good question. I think that what kept us up at night was, making sure that, like, we're resilient builders. Running a chain is not easy. The amount of funds that flow through the chain. And, in crypto, something happens to the chain, we get blamed, even if it's not us. So you understand everything that we've been doing was mission critical. So there is no such thing for us where we're thinking of like, we can take responsibility there, but we don't have to take responsibility. No, everything that we do, we build in the most safe and secure way. So if the industry norm and standard is this, we've always held ourselves to a standard of this. USX is no different. The way we design this stablecoin, the Neo dollar, is first, it needs to be a product that has an edge, which is why I mentioned the 4 points. Gasless, private, payment, yield. However, there is no such thing as like, free money or free lunch money. Investments carry risk. But we looked at the industry standard and what are the risks that retail is comfortable with. And then we went above and beyond there too. And so we made sure that, the due diligence, the solvency requirement, the transparency reporting is in place. We ensure that we just don't do business with anyone, vetted partners. And something that I'm really excited about is that we, in a V2, so in the next phase of USX, we will have a zk-attestation layer that will essentially, we will publish standards when it comes to, like I said, solvency, when it comes to like positions, when it comes to like, any form of due diligence transparency. And we'll attest to it, and these proofs will be made available on chain. But it won't reveal the underlying data, but it will reveal the standard. So what you can see is I checked, is the money there or not? Right? But it won't reveal the positions of this trading strategy. Because as you can imagine, this trading strategy, which we do display the trading strategy, but not the exact positions, is what gives this stablecoin an edge. But what is also important is that this is not necessarily wildly innovative. It is incrementally innovative. But it's also looking at what's already out there. Like I mentioned, my first point, what is the industry used to and what are retail comfortable with? And so different layers of security that we apply there, essentially making sure we safeguard the retail. The last thing I'll say is this is a Scroll branded stablecoin. So we are going out there and putting our money where our mouth is. We're slapping our brand at this stablecoin. So anyone who's seen us operate and run our chain knows that this is the level of security and trust that we essentially are going to operate USX.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm like a beginner podcaster, so I probably did this in an upside down way. We've talked about risk first, but there's no yield without risk. Let's talk about yield. Where's the yield going to come from? What's the strategy there?
Yeah, so I spoke about a dual yield strategy, and again, I will be no BS here. So in a phase one, only a part of, like the first part of the yield strategy can be executed, because as you launch a stablecoin, the liquidity needs to build up. Yeah. So, and that's a hard requirement for the DeFi side of things. but it is there. So the yield, where does it come from? It's from a market neutral strategy that essentially is executed off chain. USX can be minted in phase one only with USDC. So you come in, mint with USDC, USX. Those funds are utilized in a market neutral strategy to generate the largest portion of the yield. And while we're increasing the adoption for USX, we're partnering with vault operators and curators, in this case Blend, and they will allocate a part of that capital on chain to bootstrap, let's say, the liquidity and the growth flywheel for USX on chain. And so initially, the split is roughly 90% from an off-chain yield and 10% roughly from DeFi yield. But as it will grow, the liquidity will grow on chain, and through partnerships with various DeFi protocols, users will have the ability to have more destinations to use for USX, but we will also have more destinations for USX. So by staking USX, you'll get SUSX. Essentially, we'll be executing DeFi strategies as well. The yield numbers are looking good, but just so I can be no BS, we're saying up to 12 now. It will be more at a later stage, but now up to 12, where the majority is coming from a market neutral strategy.
But I mean, to anyone with my PTSD, 90% off-chain yield sounds scary, but it's not actually very different from other protocols out there, right? But what's going to differentiate you guys is how you've chosen the off-chain strategies. How did you choose those?
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. For sure, like if you look at actually the synthetic dollars, the yield-bearing stablecoins that have been out there, to get these sources of yield, they have been going off-chain. We've heard about delta neutral strategies, centralized exchange, like or basis trading, arbitraging, etc. So your question was like, where?
How did you choose?
How do I choose? Okay, yeah. That's okay. So like I said, in a V2, we'll have the zk-attestation layer, so people will be able to say, we'll publish the standards, and essentially, how did we choose our partners, or where, let's say, the funds go for the strategy? In this case, it's still a manual process, because like I said, we're slapping our own name against it. So we have a very high bar of when it comes to who do we do business with, in essence, to generate these yields. And so essentially how it's picked is what was the track record, how did we how do we make sure that the funds are allocated in a way that they're safe, how do we ensure like a baseline yield. These were all, let's say, elements in picking what the strategy will be. Now I'll just take a step back and also be quite frank. We won't be like you like, and that's not just us. When you design a trading strategy, no one is incentivized to reveal the positions or to like exactly show you how it's done, because that's an edge. But how then do you, let's say, essentially like communicate this and make sure that there is a creation of trust, which is where that zk attestation will come in. So in a phase one, you trust scroll. This is why we're, again, slapping our name against it. And in phase two, we will have that zk attestation, but also because we want to scale it. Essentially, what we're doing is we're democratizing the access to these yield sources that are only accessible to you as retail if you hit $10 million, $20 million. And so, and crypto is meant to essentially like level the playing field. So what we're aiming to do here is saying, okay, hey, I don't have $20 million in the bank, but it's ironic, is it not, that when you have like a lot of cash, the opportunities for you to gain interest like even more is like, so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. We're democratizing that access and essentially saying, hey, you want to come in with $5, now you can. And then you're able to get access to that, to those yield sources that is risk reward, on the risk reward curve, extremely favorable, but giving it access to, let's say, everyone now.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's what all the delta neutral stablecoins have shown us, like Athena, a neutral. These are the strategies that big banks have been doing for decades, and it's just it's not it's not a free money strategy created by Athena or Neutral. It's just the first strategy that's available to retail people like myself who can just go and buy some SUSDE and now SUSX and get access to these off-chain strategies. But does that mean, so in the case of Athena, we're trusting Athena to handle their money well. In the case of Neutral, same thing. It's the Neutral team. Will Scroll be handling the funds, or who's holding these funds for USX?
Yeah, essentially. So number one, you'll be able to see how the funds flow, because there will be a dashboard, and there is obviously is going to be transparency reporting. But essentially, Scroll in this case, yes, is the issuer and will be issuing, like say USX, so the protocol is owned by Scroll, and Scroll will be handling the funds. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so are they going to be the yield that comes from off-chain? Are you not able to tell us, or is it like from a hedge fund? Like who is the source of the off-chain yield?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good question, and I can imagine like people are wondering about this. So essentially, when you take a step back at any yield-bearing asset or stablecoin, without naming the name, we had a guest on previously, and when you look at the edge of where the yield comes from, there's a certain point where they're like, oh, we can't mention that, or we can't say that, because it reveals, let's say, not just the source, but also the way they trade, and that gives away that edge. And so that's why the zk-attestation layer is so important. I think that, again, what's the objective, right? Here, the purpose is, how do you signal trust? And how do I make sure that you feel comfortable with the risk reward and you trust it as a destination for your funds? And so we will be publishing also the standards. And this is standards that I've been speaking about, which is ensuring that, solvency, due diligence, transparency reporting, it's all in place. And ensuring that, this is not something that Scroll is not willing to associate themselves. No, this is a Scroll own project. This is the way we were going to signal trust. Does that mean I can reveal everything? No. But how do I signal that in a way where, so we will have like, what's it called? Other reports. Besides the zk-attestation, we will be able to tell what the strategy is, so people know like how their funds are essentially like getting exposure. And so wherever we can, we'll be able to give maximum information. We'll obviously have docs. And then there is a side of element to it where, we will be able to signal that level of trust with that attestation, which I'm super excited about. So people know, hey, my funds are there, the solvency is good, proof of reserve, etc. But we also safeguard our partners who don't want to expose, let's say, or give away their edge.
Yeah, totally. And there's so many interesting things to double click on here. On my personal level, I want to know how you guys do the BD in the shadows. That sounds so cool. But considering this is stable school and we're trying to teach people how stablecoins work, I think we can keep it a bit more basic, which is just if I'm a user and I deposit my USDC, how do I know I'm going to get my $1 back?
Yeah.
Oh no, even better, $1.12.
So I think that let's talk about the reward accrual and yield distribution mechanism first. So I think this is what users are used to. You come in, mint 1 USDC, you get 1 USX. You stake it, you get SUSX. Your yield accrues. You want to get out, there is an unstaking window. You unstake, and then you get the additional USX that gets minted, and then you get to do whatever you want with it. You want to go to a DEX, you can swap, etc. That's like the baseline mechanism. We will have a dashboard, much like most other stablecoins, where you can see the yield accrual. Essentially, what we do have is that at the start, the yield, like the unstaking window, is slightly longer than what people will be used to. So I think the norm is now roughly 7 days. I have actually recently, without naming the name, I got an airdrop. It's actually 14 days, and ours at the start will be 14 days. So after 14 days, you'll be able to unstake if you want that. If not, it'll keep accruing. And then there's also DeFi yield destinations. Did I answer your question? I don't think I fully answered your question.
No, so I mean, but this is important to know.
Yeah.
It's important to know. But I was wondering, but it is this
Hit
is
me, Zach. Hit me.
yeah, no, but so okay, so I'm a user. I deposit my USDC. Now I'm holding USX.
Yeah.
I have an unstaking window of 14 days.
Yes.
But what can I do with my USX in the meantime?
Yeah. Painful question. No, but it's like you said, it's closely tied to the BD conversation. What we're doing, working very, very hard behind the scenes, is working with OG protocols. And I think that I can mention it. Now we spoke to them, so Curve. You know, OGs, super helpful. Shout out to Zach who made this happen. And it's important. Actually, let me take a step back. I think people in crypto get emotional. What do I mean with that? People will say only on my chain. People will say, people expect for users to come to your product.
Yeah.
Where the right way to do it is to bring your product to the users.
Yeah.
In our version of it is where is the deepest liquidity, you bring your product there. I mentioned at the start of the podcast to you, Scroll is now more than just a chain. And USX, the home of USX is Scroll, no doubt. But we care about the best user experience. We have users on Scroll, not a ghost chain, but the majority of the users in our ecosystem, in the Ethereum ecosystem, are on mainnet. And so will USX have a deployment on mainnet? Yes. We will incentivize. So there will be very transparent. There will be a point system. We will be running a campaign, a marketing campaign, with the objective that people don't just come in with their liquidity because they're not just my friends. There needs to be an aligned incentive. So they're incentivized to bring liquidity, and liquidity begets liquidity. At the same time, we're going to bring USX to mainnet with great partners like Curve. And so USX has multiple destinations, whether you want to provide as an LP on a DEX. So we'll have destinations for that on Scroll. Money markets, lending and borrowing, very important. Looping, for instance. But also, maybe you don't want to do it as Scroll. No problem. Because in this case, we're talking about USX. And so if you want to do that on mainnet, great. And I'll give you another spicy angle. Also, thanks to you, I met with a lot of great Solana folks. USX will know a deployment on Solana.
Holy shit.
It's on the roadmap.
Yeah.
So what we are radically emotional about is building the best, safe, secure product, and then bringing this product to wherever the users are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so in your head, like, do you see USX as a payment coin, DeFi coin, combination? I've seen Neo Dollar. I love the word. It's so rare in crypto. People come up with cool names. But what is a Neo Dollar to you? What is it going to be?
I want to slap myself. We should have said this at the start of the day. The Neo Dollar, yes. Yeah. USX is the Neo Dollar. Honestly, I'm so excited about this. You've been part since the start of I told you about this at the start of the journey. Again, taking a step back, I think in crypto, we are used to incrementally improve every product that we build. Everything is incrementally better. USX is meant to be the complete stablecoin. Will it be the complete stablecoin from day one? No. That is the ambition, which means the 4 pillars I mentioned, which is gasless, practical privacy, payment rails, and yield bearing. It has to be all. Because you as a user need to get to decide, I care about privacy or I don't. I'm assuming everyone wants gasless, but you as a user need to decide, I want to spend the stablecoin or I want to hold it because I want to gain interest on it. So we want to position this product, again, being radically biased towards the user. Where are you? We bring it there. How do you want to use it? That's the way you get to use it. And so concluding what USX means to me, it's the Neo Dollar that is meant to be used the way the user wants to use it.
Okay. So it's going to be flexible. I can use it.
It's going to be flexible. Yeah,
exactly.
You just summarize it. Flexible.
Yeah. But that's cool. And I think I have a very important question about the airdrop. I think many people want to know about this. But first, I want to ask, how will USX benefit SCR holders and the Scroll community at large?
Yeah. I think a common question I got was, have we abandoned the chain? Have we abandoned SCR? I think I answered the question how the chain powers the stablecoin. When it comes to SCR, we're embarking on our new arc. You asked me about governance, that was our first utility. It still has a governance utility. To be quite frank, just governance is not enough.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's a meme coin if it's just a governance token.
And no one wants to go log in and vote.
No one wants to vote. Like, honestly, how many people go and sit down and actually do the voting thing? Like, I'm like, probably folks out there who want to cancel me. But like, you know, the fact of the matter is you need to accrue value
Yes.
to the token holders. And I think that, you know, traditionally speaking, or like before, let's say the Trump governance, folks were just too scared to say this because they didn't want to be known as a security.
Right.
So coming back to my point, it's just like we're embarking on the next arc, which is value accrual. What does that mean? We're gonna publish the exact design. I can tell you we're targeting 1st of January 2026, where essentially all the products that we've been bootstrapping, ecosystems, wherever Scroll has been benefiting, we want to drive that value back to SCR. What does that exactly mean? I'll be, again, no BS, I'll be very specific. Essentially, we're gonna allow SCR holders to stake their SCR. And then anytime like we make revenue, we make money, assets on balance sheet, we'll come up in a mechanism that redirects that revenue, those assets to SCR stakers. And so answering your question on how does USX benefit SCR holders and stakers in the SCR community is USX benefits from the chain because it gets some of these features. How it drives value back is protocol revenues, and we will be publishing there as well, not to bother people with numbers, but there are like protocol revenues, as in like the revenues that come from the fees, that come from like the vault, etc. There are revenue streams that are, let's say, from the undistributed yield. Essentially, USX will have its own Gov token that if you just want to use this product, you'll be able to acquire this Gov token, then stake it. And so some of this revenue will go back to the stakers of the USX Gov token. And Scroll holds a significant portion of the Gov tokens of USX. And so by SCR stakers, we will redirect it to SCR. Now imagine if you take a step back and we have multiple products where Scroll has a stake in these things because we've bootstrapped it or launched it. It essentially means, the way I see it is SCR in the middle, and you stake it, and you see all of these things that are accruing value back because Scroll is either bootstrapping it, having partnerships, or any way or shape or form getting accruing value. We direct it back to the SCR holders.
Amazing. And I guess now it's the most important question is when airdrop? How airdrop? Yeah.
I told you no BS. So yes, we are announcing, or by the time this podcast has gone out, we have announced our pre-deposit. Essentially, we are running a incentive campaign. You know what? I told you I would answer everything. This is the one I'm gonna be transparent with. Like, I'm not sure how much I should share or not, but I will tell you this. It's gonna be not as long as our first campaign that we did at Scroll that went on for way too long. Where, you know, I'm sure we'll touch upon it, like some of the learnings we had there and like some of the things that happened. But we really had, like, we're far more experienced right now. We've spoken to a lot of more people. We've observed the ecosystem. So what I can tell you is it will be in a shorter period of time because the incentive campaign is meant to bootstrap USX and the liquidity around it. But we really believe in the product itself. And so we really want people to come in and benefit from the product itself and the things you can do in the ecosystem. And so it's to kickstart the initial growth flywheel. Think of a matter of months as opposed to, like, you know, a lot of quarters. That's as much as I can say now.
Interesting. But yeah, because I mean, you came really close to one of my questions, which was like, are you not sick of airdrops yourself? Like, have you not been through enough brain damage? Like, yes.
Yo, so there's two parts of this question, right? One is, man, my PTSD, and then the second is, what do I think about airdrops, right? I think that I did a whole Twitter post on this. You know, when you ride a bike you fall, you get up, you ride it again. The amount of experience you get and you can like apply again is there's short cycles, right? I mean, how many times do you launch a token, and how many times do you like go through this? And honestly, I would say that if you look at who we are at Scroll, we're technical builders. We love building products. We're close to our community. I mean, I hope everyone who has an interaction with us can see we're not hype builders. You know, we're just like normal people, you know?
Yeah.
And so when we did this, we were like overwhelmed with the hype. And we were overwhelmed with like the excitement. And then point number one, we tried to execute it with the best intention. Number two, we fucked up.
Yeah.
And so in that post, I said like loads of details that I wish we wouldn't have done. Like we ran like a campaign with like for attestation and stuff, which we, you know, wasn't meant to be like, you know, to be incentivized or like where people could like farm it. I think that there was too many in the communication. We were too scared often we were too scared. Like I said, I think this was around the time you didn't want to be known as security. Like we didn't know what we could say and not. Like this is the honest truth, right? I remember behind the scenes, so many times I wanted to open my mouth, but it was kind of like we were not allowed to say just because we didn't know that like regulatory wise. Right. But we were bad in communication. But I wish I could have come out and said like, guys, this is not like a farming exercise. And then we actually did, when we had randomization on Scroll, we did like a dice campaign. You could like mint very fun like dices. We actually put everywhere like this is not a farming exercise, but that just got out of control as well. And so one of the things that we realized was like, whether you mention it or not, like you have to take responsibility that if you are running an incentive campaign, everything that you do or say gets scrutinized and might get misinterpreted, and that's just how it is. Yeah. We were also slow to communicate.
DJ's gonna degen.
DJ's gonna degen, and you know what? You can't have your cake and eat it too. Yeah. We were running an incentive campaign. You can't say, oh, the incentive campaign is only for like this class, but not all the other like class. Yeah. It's like people also like, you see now chains that have been saying we will never launch a token are saying, oh, we're gonna launch a token. Yeah. Yeah. So you can't blame them. You have to take responsibility for that. And I think that that's one thing. We're slow to communicate.
I wish I never stopped using MetaMask.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we were slow to communicate. We didn't communicate well enough. I can tell you why, but it's just like what we didn't do well. And then there were just like some elements where, again, this is the first time we did TG. So when you're dealing with like centralized exchanges, when dealing with other form of partners, I mean, we learned firsthand that the capital is super mercenary. And so, again, no BS way is that the way I'm learning about it for USX is yes, there's an incentive campaign. I'm being transparent about it, but I truly believe we're just building the best product. So what I'm hoping to do is it's like it's meant to give exposure to the product to people who want to use it, who will benefit from this. And I think that we got overwhelmed. We made a lot of wrong decisions, and so the airdrop wasn't great.
And USX will be different because you've learned from those mistakes.
Yeah. So tapping on a few of these things, right? Day one, being transparent about we're running an incentive campaign. Yes, it's for an airdrop. We'll be publishing like, you know, how you can participate, what that means for you too. So these rules will be published like on Twitter whenever we have like the phases of our campaign. We'll be publishing like, you know, what the incentives are that are paired with it so people can like, you know, go about and see if it's worth their time. I think that a few other things is that we'll be very mindful of how we run the incentive campaign, i.e. everything that we're doing during the incentive campaign, we can expect to be scrutinized, i.e. like we can't go about and do like a fun NFT drop or anything like that. And then say like, oh, you don't get like truly meaning it's not for like farming. And then people mint like 100 or 1,000 of these NFTs, right? But then it doesn't actually get included in the airdrop calculation and people get pissed. Of course they get pissed. Yeah. So these are just like a lot of small details like this that we learn. And I think the game's also changing. I mean, Plasma recently did their airdrop. No lockup, no vest, all that stuff. I mean...
And it worked.
And it works. Yeah. And so I think that we were paying attention to the space where we will make sure that we do what we're seeing is positively received and incorporate that in our airdrop.
Very cool. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're the airdrop master by this point.
Oh my god, the pressure is on.
But yes, okay, we running out of time. So let's talk about some important things. I think earlier you said that there's going to be privacy. I think one of my favorite stories about privacy is just how like we had an employee who basically completely violated her own privacy by sharing her address with us for us to pay in USDC, and then we got to see that she was basically working multiple jobs, and it's such a simple and obvious example of how on-chain privacy is a mess for end users. You mentioned at the start of the podcast that like with Cloak, there's going to be functional privacy,
Yes.
compliant privacy.
Correct.
You're going to be able to show it to the DOJ if they come knocking, IRS if they come knocking.
Yes.
But I think most important question that will be on everybody's minds is, can Scroll see my transactions?
Yeah. Don't know. But yeah, like
Yeah.
let me double click on this.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, which is like how, Scroll the chain works with this asset, is that when I say USX is the home, so Scroll is the home for USX, is these features will be available on Scroll, gasless and practical privacy. Practical privacy will be extended to other chains and other ecosystems, but not day one. So how it works is essentially it's a layer, let's say, on Scroll, where transactions are happening, and there will be like a block explorer essentially for it. Now, when I say practical privacy, essentially what it means is that yes, technically speaking, we could go and use, let's say, what we call a key, open it up, and see your transactions. There are a couple of buts though. Number one, when we use the key, people can see we use the key. So now, like, when I tell you I haven't used it, well, you can't prove a negative, right? But when I have used it, you'll be able to like say, hey, wait 1 second, you went in and checked, what my balance is.
Yeah.
And then the second one is that this is very consciously not meant to be a self-sovereign privacy solution. You see, I think that when I said products are incrementally better in crypto, there's another thing that we do, which is we go like batshit crazy on the spectrum, right? Where we essentially see like no one should ever be able to see anything. Another one is that you and me agree is not your keys, not your coins. But the vast majority doesn't
Don't hold that keys.
I told you, my mom's like, there's no forget password button. I'm not using it.
Yeah.
And so this is practical privacy because we looked at, again, what do users care about and the norm, and what's the sweet spot. And I think that sometimes we do hold ourselves to too high of a standard. And so when we say practical privacy, yes, privacy compliant, but emphasizing that if the DOJ or the IRS calls, yes, that is something that you'll be able to see. It's open to open it up. But also, I think that confidentiality is maybe even a better word. So just so we don't create a false illusion of like, no one can ever see anything. No, it's practical privacy.
So don't commit crimes with USX.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
Like,
bad idea.
that's a super bad idea.
Stick to
because
Monero.
Yeah. Not USX.
And yeah, I think to wrap it up, I think the most important question: what does winning look like? You're launching today. Where do you want to be in a year?
In a year, I want to be at. We want to be at $3 billion market cap. We're aiming for 500 million by the end of the year, and then the next milestone is $1 billion. And honestly, this is an asset type I believe in. Stablecoins. It's something, again, we're aiming to democratize the access to TradFi rails where, previously people would only have access when you hit a certain net worth. And there's a bunch of other things that we'll be able to like do with this. I'm extremely excited and grateful we can do this. So the sky is the limit.
We're going to see USX everywhere. Where will we be able to spend USX first?
So you'll be able to get it at USX.capital.
Yeah.
We have several payment launch partners lined up as like in our ecosystem. That essentially you'll be able to load up, because to be fair, also no bullshit, most credit cards in crypto are not credit cards, they're debit cards. So you need to load it. So you'll be able to load it with USX, and then there will be reward screens and reward programs for it.
Raza, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode of Stable School.
Let's go.
Yeah.